This is my DJI Action 5 Pro, and this is the last dive with this camera.
Everyone, welcome back to another video. We are heading out into the ocean, and we have a special guest today.
Hi,
Toku from Korea. Got a friend over from across the pond, and what we're gonna do is take him out. Hopefully, conditions look okay. 1 to 2 feet. Visibility is projected to be about 10 to 15. Hopefully, it's a little better today. But we're gonna go out, try to get some fish, uni, and let's go show them the California coast. The conditions were actually not bad. I would say about 15 feet visibility. The surf was about 1.5 feet, I would say, and the frequency at which the waves were hitting were manageable. It wasn't the flattest I've seen, but overall, I would say it was decent enough to take out a beginner. What I do is look at the swells beforehand, and I do take a look at the shoreline especially and see where the water is moving before I decide to, yes, take out a newer person or decide to pick another day. But this day, as you can see, pretty nice. A lot of fish activity, and I would say a beautiful day to be out. I did bring my big float out for him to rest on if he needed to, and also, of course, giving him the lowdown of how to best approach going in and out, and also when diving, some best practices and techniques. I'll do a separate video on what my general procedures are when taking out a newer diver, but back to the dive itself. Overall great conditions, 15 plus feet of viz, a little bit surgy in some areas, but we avoided some major the larger cliff faces and larger rocks, so we were in a pretty safe zone, I would say. But overall, we were going for sheephead, going for some uni. That was our main target for today. So I find this group of sheephead, and the minimum length a fish has to be, or sheephead has to be, is 12 inches in the state of California at the recording of this video. And I find that they're really good eating raw or in a ceviche dish, the common dish people like to make. And I really would like to take one home to share with my guests. So I'm looking for a larger sized one here. And I see one that could be of legal, or a little bit over legal. And the legal length is 12 inches in the state of California. And the rule of thumb here is, if it's not legal size, there's no second chances, especially in the game of spearfishing. You can't just spear it and then put it back. So what do? You don't take the shot. That's the answer. But you might be asking, if you're a newer diver, I was in your shoes once, you're antsy, you want to shoot a fish, and if it's legal, if it's like 12 inches and 1 millimeter is technically legal, and you're right. However, that risk, that tolerance is just too tight to make them. It's easier to make a mistake that way than, go for a larger fish. And the counter to that would be, or I guess the complaints that newer divers have, and I had when I first started, was, how am I supposed to get better? How am I supposed to know? One is go with a buddy that can teach you. However, if you don't have that, then do your best, do your homework, look at fish, spearfish that may be similar of size but not the same species. For example, perch, there's no size minimum there. So do your best, try to hunt for ones that are larger, and you'll have a gauge of generally how large they should be in the water. Honestly, go to an aquarium and get a gist of like how that size would look in the water. You honestly just need to spend more time in the water and get more familiar with looking at a fish under the magnifications and the various things that happen when you're spearfishing in the ocean. So probably not the answer you're looking for, but it really is. If you don't know, or if it's super close, it's best not to take the shot. But I know for this particular one, this one is absolutely legal and probably like a 15 incher at least. So I line up a shot. I'm waiting for a nice broad shot and take my shot. I think I had a good line of sight, but I think it was just out of effective range of my spear gun, so that one gets away. 작게, smaller. 지금 너무 크게 이렇게 하고 있어. Slow, small. 작게. I would say all things considered, Toku is doing a great job for a first time out on the water, all the new gear and all the new techniques, so kudos to him. But I still need to get a sheep head to share with everyone, so what I'm doing here, it's hard to see, but with my left hand, I'm smashing a rock on top of another rock. And you might be wondering, why the heck am I doing that? I found that in areas like this where mussels are a good source of food for a lot of fish, that sound makes it seem like a mussel is getting broken or something like that, and it attracts fish. The idea is to track them in. Unfortunately for that dive, tried it a couple times, no luck though. Spiny lobster season is over, so these guys are safe for another year, but I will see you guys next season. Hope you enjoyed this footage. Unfortunately, the last couple clips you see here are the last bit of footage that my DJI Action Pro will ever take, because water got in it, and I'll explain in a bit how that happened. But here's some stats from the dive, but that's not important, because the more important piece is Toku had a great time. I was able to take him out on his first dive. He loved it, and I think he's going to think about it for a long time and want to try it himself. So I think that's the most important part of this dive. So hope you enjoyed the footage, and here's a little longer explanation of what exactly happened to my camera on this dive.
So during my dives, what I do is I don't have a mask mount. What I typically do is have a head strap like this one. I put my hood over this strap, and this part is popping out right here, and it has a quick release magnetic mount for my DJI Action 5 Pro. And what I do typically is no case. I used to run a case, but after some fogging and listening to some other divers that also run this camera, they haven't had any issues with this running without a case and water seeping in. So I tested it out a couple times and I haven't had an issue since, so I've been running it like this. So what I typically do is I have it up here and I listen for the 2 clicks. And then once I hear those 2 clicks, I know it's secure. I haven't had an issue with it. Clamp it on. And if I wanted to get some B-roll of like a horn shark or dive shot of my buddy, instead of just me using my head as like a gimbal, what I would do is take this camera off and point it to them with my hands. So what I would do is, with gloves on, so it's a little bit thicker, I would go back like this underneath and try to pinch. Take this off for you all to see. There's 2 pinch points right here, right there. And then if you take it off, there's a little bit of a pull because of the magnets, but you pinch, pull, and it comes off pretty easy. And then to put it back in, all you do is line it up, use that magnet to help you, and then you just push it to seat it all the way in. So as I was attempting to snap off this camera off my head, what I did was grab it like this and try to wrap around. And I think in doing so, my finger must have slipped. And what happened was, on this side is the battery port and the SD card slot. I pinched, and maybe as I was pulling or in some part of this process, I think I skimmed this button and pulled it up like that. What happened was, when I was in the water, that opened up, water went in. I saw it happen relatively quickly, and what I did is pull it straight out of the water and try to dump as much water as I could out. I closed it, and my thought was, don't turn it on, wait till you get to shore, take out all the batteries and the SD card, and then try to dry it out in a bag of rice overnight. And hopefully, and don't use that same battery, that battery is gone, use a new battery, and hopefully that turns it on. Yeah, that never happened. This guy's dead, it's fried. It served me well. I love the camera footage from it. But this was the last dive for my DJI Action 5 Pro. So yeah, long time. I've only used it for a year actually, and loved it during my time using it. I'm super bummed that this happened to me. What I would recommend, if you have one of these cameras, and I think you can go caseless for up to 50 feet. I've seen other divers go further than that without a case. I would highly, highly recommend you either put a little bit of like tape on the ends for this never to happen to you in the water, or I've seen kind of like exoskeleton cases being sold. A lot of them are aluminum. I would like not use those. I would use like a polymer or some sort of plastic so it doesn't corrode. But I would put that on just to hold this latch closed for sure. Like you will never have that issue. But yeah, I would definitely, it is a user error, but I dove with it for a year and I was doing this for a long time. I just got unlucky, I guess. It was just a matter of time before I accidentally did this. Pulled it up, then somehow did that, and then it opened up. So sad day, one of my more expensive dives, but that's it for my DJI Action 5 Pro. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. Conditions were pretty nice. See you on the next one.